everyone, and a very warm welcome to the second ever episode of NDI TV, the channel that is dedicated to all things happening in the world of NDI. I am your host Renato, and earlier I had the opportunity and the pleasure of speaking to Dan Mile, the CEO and founder of BirdDog, based down there in Melbourne, Australia. Now, in case you didn't already know, BirdDog are manufacturers of a whole range of nifty tech solutions for live video production over standard computer networks, and were very early adopters of NDI. So, let's have a look at what Dan had to say. Good evening, Dan. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. It's a real honour to have a company like BirdDog with us today on NDI TV. How are you today?
Thanks, Renato. I'm doing really well, and thanks very much for having me on NDI TV. I'm equally excited to be here.
Excellent. That's great. So just to get things rolling, can you tell us a bit about BirdDog and also your relationship with NDI?
Yeah, absolutely. So BirdDog's been around for really the same time that NDI's been around. In fact, our idea for the company came out of the announcement of NDI. And what we do is we make a bunch of products that are either hardware or software that talk to each other, that create workflows using the NDI technology. We create cameras, we create converters, as well as things like audio comms systems and routing software to allow you to enhance your production, and then also interconnectivity over the internet to be able to connect multiple NDI sites to each other.
Okay, excellent. And can you tell me why you were such early adopters of NDI? Why hitch your wagon to NDI, so to speak?
Yeah, look, NDI for me has been a technology that in some ways has been waiting to happen as much as it is really innovative. There's always been, with any IP video technology, there's always been some kind of trade-off. And NDI really creates the ultimate solution. It has the lowest latency, it has the highest quality, but importantly, it's really friendly to computer networks. So for us, when NDI was announced, it was the moment where we went, right, now it's time that we can actually work with IP video. And so once we made that decision, it was really around what kind of tools could be used. And for us, the first logical product was to do an encoder, and then obviously the cameras and decoders came next.
So it seems you benefited greatly from using NDI. Can you tell me what does NDI offer you?
Yeah, look, I think NDI, we've absolutely benefited greatly. In fact, our company is built around NDI as its core technology. What NDI has offered us is a platform that we can create all of our products on, and ultimately create tools that our customers can use to make the highest quality productions out there. The flexibility of NDI, allowing any computer network point to be able to be an in point or an out point, or some kind of interaction with your production, is just something that couldn't be imagined a few years back. So for us, NDI has really been a game changer, and our technology really helps people use that in day-to-day use.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say game changer. Obviously, in 2020, NDI has been pushed to the forefront. Have you got anything you want to say about that? How work practices have changed?
Yeah, so this year's been a curveball for everybody. Any company in the world is not operating in the same way they were. For us, fortunately, NDI and IP-based video in general has really been a boom kind of industry. Every company needs to pivot their approach, whether it's for engaging with staff or engaging with their customers. And NDI is a logical choice. We've got some really interesting customers out there that have done some great work, and probably the biggest thing with NDI is for organisations that haven't done video production before. They're able to engage with their IT department, they're able to use already known parts of their infrastructure to use for their video production, rather than having to do a greenfield video studio with equipment that they don't know of, and they're not confident in those solutions. So NDI really was a great way to solve those problems for companies that maybe haven't done video production before, but are facing the reality they need to now.
Yeah, that kind of leads me to my next question. One of the things that you were keen to share with us today was your recent collaboration with a Scandinavian brand called Power, which are very big over here in Norway, Sweden and Denmark. Obviously, Power is a long way from Melbourne. Can you tell us how you became involved with that project?
Yeah, it's interesting. NDI is being used all over the globe, and this particular use case couldn't be any further away from us, really, because we're based here in Melbourne. We worked with our partners, Video People in Denmark, and they produced a solution for Power, which is actually the largest consumer electronics retailer in Denmark. They had a real challenge with all the COVID interruptions to business. They've got many different offices, many different locations where they needed to train their staff on new products. They need to have meetings, and they need to give customers information about products. Where previously they'd have a meeting space where they'd bring people in and do a once a month all hands meeting, and there's catering and all sorts of things involved with that. They had to completely shift and make that completely virtual. So to do that, they engaged with Video People and they produced a full NDI-based studio, and the results have been fantastic with that.
Oh yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about the technical setup there? Anything in particular that was innovating or groundbreaking?
Yeah, look, I think right from the start, it was quite an innovative approach that video people took with Power. Essentially, because Power hadn't done any video production before, they didn't have the understanding within the business of everything they needed. So just from the initial discussions around what to do, NDI made a whole lot of sense to them. They involved their IT department right from the very beginning, and they were really comfortable with the solution rather than it being a daunting process. As far as the innovative things they've used, everything is obviously connected via networking rather than traditional video. There's no video connections anywhere. Using our cameras, they're using 3 different cameras within their studio, which are all connected via gigabit Ethernet and power over Ethernet. So just one cable to those cameras. And then they can control those cameras with our keyboard. And really what actually produces this show is the flexibility and the reason why they love it so much. They can use Microsoft Teams for internal training, and that becomes a really collaborative process where within Microsoft Teams, they can produce a show that's really engaging. People can view a product introduction like they're watching a TV program. And the feedback from their staff is they like it better than going to the traditional meetings because it feels like they're part of something new, something futuristic. Their productions are such high quality. But then on top of that, they're also doing external-facing videos where they're streaming out to Vimeo and doing live productions as well as pre-recorded. And these are things that as a company they haven't been able to do before. And the staffing they've had to bring on is really quite minimal to be able to do this really high level of collaboration and interaction with their staff and customers.
Do you see other corporations like Power from non-traditional broadcasting backgrounds following in Power's footsteps? Is this a trend we're seeing?
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I was talking with Mads at Video People the other day, and he was saying that this project has really been a good lead-in for a lot of other companies. There's many other organisations with both similar kind of retail outlets as well as more corporate infrastructure type companies that are really looking at this as their next step. And we're finding that around the world, actually. A lot of our customers are actually first-time video producers that are looking at upping their game as far as being able to get their messages out. Whether that's for schools, whether that's for corporates, even house of worship, there's a huge breadth of customers that are looking at doing this kind of work for the very first time. So success stories like Power are really great to show people how this can be done.
Okay, yeah. Dan, where do you see the future of IP video heading from here? And do you think it will be with NDI?
Look, I think there's no doubt the future of video is with IP. I think the genie's now out of the bottle, and thanks to Dr. Andrew Cross and his innovations with NDI, that's really accelerated things. There is obviously other choices people can have, but really what we're seeing, and as a company, we backed NDI right from the very beginning. And we see NDI really is the solution for the future. The reason for this is really threefold. One is the infrastructure. It works on regular corporate level infrastructure, so you can engage your IT department. And this is really important for deployments at scale. The quality is extremely high, and it can be used in for everything right up to full broadcast production, and is being used daily in that. But probably the biggest thing is the complete ecosystem. With NDI, you don't need to be an engineer to run it. You have an NDI device on your network, and you can very easily find it and interact with it. And that's really key for success of any technologies. It needs to be accessible and easy to use. And so from our point of view, NDI really is, as you said, the wagon that we wanted to use and to be involved with, because it does give everyone the ease of use with the quality, but also the implementation ability, which is great for everybody.
So Dan, I hear there are some products in the pipeline you might be able to tantalise with us today on NDI TV. I've heard rumours of a P4K camera. Can you elaborate on that?
Look, I can confirm those rumours are true. In fact, we've just started shipping the P4K camera. We're really excited about this because this camera really, it shows how high the quality of NDI can go. It uses a Sony 1-inch sensor, and it has an amazing level of control of all of your colour and exposure, right through to colour matrix and gamma control. Can
you tell us about this 4K quad that's just recently come out?
We've produced a small box. It's called the 4K quad, and it's got 4 12G SDI connections on there. It's about the size of your iPhone, and this becomes what you commonly call a drop point within a video production. And it gives you the ability to either input 4 channels of 12G SDI, which is 4K 60, or decode as well. So it becomes a video distribution platform in a product that's a tiny size. In fact, it's the world's smallest multi-channel 4K device out there, and it's all powered by NDI. Yeah.
That's what we like to hear. Perfect. Okay, Dan, I think that's everything for today. Thank you very much for your time and for joining us for the second episode of NDI TV. You have a great evening.
Appreciate it, Renato. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hello everyone, Richard Evans here, and today I'm going to show you a powerful application that is part of the NDI Tools Pack called NDI Studio Monitor. This application allows you to browse your network for NDI sources and view them in their native resolution and frame rates. It also gives you the ability to manipulate NewTek NDI PTZ camera positionings, Spark I/O devices, run NDI KVM, record, and a whole lot more. So let's take a look. Alright, so I'm going to start off here on my Windows desktop and fire up NDI Studio Monitor. And when I do that, the first thing that you're going to notice is at the bottom left corner of the screen is that I have a QR code and an IP address at the bottom. So what this allows me to do is, let's say that I have a smartphone, for example, that's connected to the same network as my NDI sources. I can pull up the camera and scan this QR code or type in the IP address of this device manually into, say, a web browser, and then I can remotely control the aspects of NDI Studio Monitor, which is pretty awesome. So you can put this on, say, like a big monitor, and without having to go through and have a mouse around screen, use your phone instead. But let's go ahead and take a look at the main function of NDI Studio Monitor, which is viewing NDI sources remotely. So you can go to the top of the screen here and click on this menu, or just right-click anywhere on screen and bring up that same menu, which gives you a drop-down of the different sources that are broadcasting on your NDI network. So I'm here in San Antonio, Texas, in NewTek headquarters, and I have a couple pieces of equipment going on here. So let's check in with my NC1IO device, input number 1, see what I got going on here. All right, so I have my NC1IO playing back this particular clip, and just on a loop, and in NDI Studio Monitor, I'm now able to view that source with its native aspect ratio and frame rate directly from this application. All right, now let's check in on a few other pieces of equipment. I'll right-click here and check out my NDI PTZ camera that I have in my studio. All right, so this is my NDI PTZ camera. You get a little behind the scenes of what we do here at NewTek. So I have my knight in shining armor here on my green screen, and I have an NDI PTZ camera in the back of the studio to kind of show you what we have set up back here. So not only can I view this source, but using the power of NDI, I can also manipulate this camera. For example, I have controls here on the right that allow me to move my camera to left to right, up and down, all around, etc. And then I can also zoom into these shots. So for example, I'll use the zoom function here on the side here, and let's zoom into my knight in shining armor, right? And I can even store preset shots by clicking store here and saving that for number 1. And now let's zoom all the way back, and we'll hit store number 2. And now I can cycle between those presets simply by clicking on these numbers. I don't have to manually do that anymore, which is pretty great. Now there's some other options that are available to you within NDI Studio Monitor. Let's just stick on this shot here. I'm going to right-click on the screen here, go to Settings, and I have an option to select which audio source that I want to monitor on this particular device, also boost the levels if I need to. I also have options for the video side of things. For example, if I had a shot coming through with alpha channel, I can do that. Even bring up things like, for example, like a center cross here, so I can line up my shot, etc. So a lot of fun things that you can do with this. Let me go ahead and turn that off. Another thing that I want to show you is that I can bring up a picture-in-picture using NDI Studio Monitor as well. So, for example, I have on this tripod here, this camera is currently plugged into a Spark I/O device, which converts the SDI output of this camera into an NDI source. So instead of full screening that, let's go ahead and bring that up as an overlay, and I can do that by right-clicking on the screen here, and go to Settings, Overlay, and now you'll see that in this menu I have a whole bunch of other, well, it's the same sources that I have over on the left, and this allows me now to use it as a picture-in-picture. So let's go ahead and take the output of my Spark I/O and bring that up, and boom. Now I can see what's going on this viewfinder here, but the output of my camera is now an overlay. So let's go ahead and take that overlay off and show you some of the other options available to us here. So not only can we use NDI Studio Monitor to view these sources, bring up overlays, manipulate our camera positionings, etc., but I can also use NDI Studio Monitor to record. So I'm going to right-click in here and go to Settings, go to my application, and then I can set my record path. I can set it to whatever drive that I have connected to my machine here. And now at the very bottom left of the screen, I have a little red dot, which means that I can record. So I'll go ahead and hit record there, and we are off and running. So I can also use NDI Studio Monitor as a recording device. A lot of amazing things that you can do with NDI Studio Monitor. So another awesome feature of the NDI Studio Monitor application is we can also use it to remotely view or control a TriCaster system with NDI KVM. So let me right click here in the middle and let's select my VMC1, and not only can I view some of the sources coming in and out of that system, but I can also select the multi-viewer here, and now I can remotely see what's going on my TriCaster. And now all I have to do is go to the top of the screen and click on NDI KVM to turn on KVM on any KVM enabled device. So this will now allow me to manipulate my TriCaster from wherever I am in my facility. So I don't even necessarily need to be in front of my TriCaster to run my show anymore. I can do this all remotely. I can switch my camera shots, I can record from here, I can do anything that a keyboard and mouse will allow you to do via the power of NDI KVM. But wait, there is even more. This is an overview, but there is a lot of things you can do. So not only can I use this to view sources, but I can also use NDI Studio Monitor to send sources as well. So for example, let's say that you have a bunch of different machines on your network and you want to lessen some of the network bandwidth load that's going on there, and you can use NDI Studio Monitor to distribute video out to different iterations of NDI Studio Monitor. So I'm just going to show you an example of that on this one machine here. Let me go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. So we're going to keep an eye on my PTZ camera on this version, or this instance of NDI Studio Monitor. And now let's open up another instance of NDI Studio Monitor, and we're going to treat this like it's another computer that is on my network. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on this instance of NDI Studio Monitor, go to Settings, and go to Output, and you'll see that I have a checkbox next to NDI Video Output. So let's say that we're going to this version, this instance of NDI Studio Monitor. I can right-click in here and go to this particular machine's name, which is Richie, my machine here, and then select Studio Monitor, and now I'm able to view that source over here. So what that means is if, again, let's say I have like a couple different computers that are monitoring this source, I can then right-click in here and switch between different sources, and that will change on this version of Studio Monitor. So you can use this to distribute content as well, which is pretty dang amazing. Very powerful piece of software. Highly recommend that you download this and check it out for yourself.
So that's it for this episode of NDI TV. But remember to keep checking back with us to discover all the latest trends and innovations of all things NDI, the technology that is moving video and moving the world. And if you haven't already, why not experience the power of NDI for yourself for absolutely free? Visit ndi.tv and click on NDI Tools at the top of the page. Inside, you'll find a suite of applications allowing you to send and receive NDI signals on both PC and Mac. And if you're a developer or a manufacturer and are ready to add NDI support to your products, you can download the NDI SDK at ndi.tv as well. This royalty-free software developers kit offers access to all the tools and resources you'll need to integrate native NDI support into your software, as well as the NDI embedded development kit for all your products like cameras, converters, monitors, and more. That's it for today. I've been your host, Renato Strumafiliani, and I'd like to thank our special guest, Birddog, for joining us today. I'd also like to thank you for watching. Until we meet again on the next episode of NDI TV.